Sanjay Tamji Tamdo Sonja Tawra Shaha, the Chitu Chursanla, Nyamne She Nyamba Sonju Tu Shiva.
We should listen the teaching with the motivation that on behalf of attaining the complete enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings, and with the wish to engage oneself in the practice, I would listen the teaching.
Chu Khenchen Appey Rinpoche, Khenchen Appey Rinpoche to Yin Sambache. Then he had to tell Manroche, Moroche, and Song Road Song. Khenchen Appey Chu the Sonjo Topiche to Yin Sambache, Yaboche Niena, 10 years. Then he changed ship in Gale, gave a young dollar, lobby. Sanam Chambu, yes, but Tiba Chambu Lami.
It is emphasized in the teaching that while gathering for the teaching, the teacher should impart the teaching with the motivation, with the correct motivation, with a good motivation. That is mainly to cause to dispel the afflictions of the disciples, the followers, and also the teachers should impart the teaching without unmistakenly or without error. That, in another word, in accordance with the doctrine, the Buddhist doctrine, and the listener should also listen the teaching with a motivation with the intention to gain the complete enlightenment on behalf of the other sentient beings. By this way, both the teachers and the disciples will gain great amount of sort of merit. It is one of the most extensive and merit.
Dharmaza Chu Channing Chidu Uji Dombalo, Gambachi Bubayo, Sanam Chambu Yasumarim.
Furthermore, it is said in the teaching that even just by walking to receive, together for the teaching, and also even exhaling a breath in order to gather or in order to receive the teaching, the genuine teaching, it is so meritorious.
Korwa Junde Hebikap, Tene Ledon, Korwa so huge over here. Tene Lele John Yamon but cage over here. The Yamon but John Baker, Korwa Seto Weir, and a condo in Yawasho and Abu. Yamon but on Monday we let John Bed doing a shit where Yamari. Chesa Korwa Shayagi. Juching Tunchana, Yamon, Julie, Larry Chen, just a Yamon, but occasionally.
Among as we are in the topic, of the cyclic existence. Among the two, the causal cyclic existence, the karmic deeds or our action, and the affliction, the negative emotion. The negative emotion is more powerful. We should understand that among these two, our negative emotions are more powerful than the karmic deeds, because a moment of anger would without association of the physical or verbal sort of action, a moment of anger would result in the hell realm, and without associating with afflictions, the karmic deed, without associating with afflictions, mere karmic deed, mere sort of negative karmic deed, mere karmic deed would not bring such result.
Kora pomba la tene le pomne kora pom tabadoya te the goa me vi jumse sum yore sum bare sa japante te cheta kora pomba la ti ju nyamomba pongo.
So in order to overcome or in order to discard our cyclic existence, Sakya Pandita points out that it is just by refraining or rejecting or discarding the negative, karmic actions, it will not reverse the followers from being born in the cyclic existence. So in order to gain the liberation, in order to get freedom from the cyclic existence, it is it is most important, it is vital, or it is crucial to overcome the negative emotions, the defilements. So that therefore, which is first of all going to impart brief teaching on the defilements. Actually, generally, defilements or negative emotion means or refers to an emotion which irritates or which causes our mind to be in a unpeaceful state. Such emotions are known as defilement. Although there are numerous what's so-called the negative emotion within us, there are many kinds of it within which arise within the ordinary sentient beings. But in the teaching, as a classification or divisions of the gross, gross defilements, the defilement is classified divided into two: root defilements and the closer defilements. Among the six root defilements, the desirous attachment, hatred or anger, and the delusion or ignorance, all may be now aware of these brief sort of references or brief definition of these three. With regard to point out the definition or the characteristic of the pride, the fourth root defilement, the pride. Pride is to feel pride is a mental state which feels mental state which feels pride in, which has the feeling of some kind of fill up within the mental stream, feeling of boast, feeling of boasting within the mental stream of one's own, qualities, various qualities.
Tesam sange tesam konga nyamong ba mali bena soni charba jawi do me samanda yori nyamong bi tesam sange de le junde de demba yendo me tene demba yede demba yendo me samanda de tesam sange.
And the fifth root defilement, the doubt, all doubts which arise within our mental stream are not necessarily the doubt which is counted in the six root defilements. The defiled doubt, the doubt which is the nature of defilement. The definition of the doubt, the defiled doubt, is a mental state which doubts in the infallible, which doubts in the existence, which doubts in the existence of the Four Noble Truths, or which doubts in the existence, the relatively existent nature of the karma and deeds, and so on.
Truba de tawa nyamong bitawa sangate nelu le shinchilu tumzambachi nelu do jamgar sonchi.
Sixth one is wrong view. Wrong view, the view actually. Literally, for translating, is a view, defiled view. Defiled view refers here to our mental state, which conceive or which perceived opposite to the natures of the object.
Tele nonsen yewa sana nga yewa he pena jita sana danzen tawu. Du yana tawa sachi du yana tanya mung patru cha.
To divide this, the defiled view, there are five kinds of. Within the defiled view, there are 5 kinds. But while counting 6 root defilement, they all are counted as a view.
Nyevi nyamomba sangate nyamomba tosi huchunga nyamomba ke chakhe chile nyevi nyamomba.
With regard to the brief, explanation of the closer defilements, the 20 closer defilements.
Telepena nyamomba ndere chaudos yen yabo shwala megawa seva chaudo.
Jealousy is the mental state which mental state which has the mode of feeling jealous, while others become successful, while others are successful. And the stinginess refers to the mental state which mental state which has the mode of tightly sort of not feeling of, is a mode of feeling, is a mental state which has the feeling of not letting the wealth, it's not easy.
And
the mental state which lacks enthusiasm, in the positive deeds, the virtuous deeds, is referred as laziness, and so on.
Tene nyamomba don let tesoke korwa chitong kande shigure sanati rimanebote.
If it is asked how our defilements, all these defilements, lead ourselves, how all our defilements lead ourselves in the realm of worldly existence.
Tombo danzen senge de kori tsawari, nyamomba de korwa shivi ju le senge de chenri. Ju dong chen seri pena medona vshegona savanteli ju chu dong logdavole chen seri ore.
Within ourselves, our egoism, or grasping of self of person. Our egoism or grasping of self of person is the root of our own cyclic existence, and our defilements is the root of our own cyclic existence, and our defilements are the causes of our own cyclic existence, and the deeds, the actions we perform are the secondary condition of our cyclic existence.
Tene tombo pena sosu zubotong sem tesol tene nga sambaji kongye tele danzen segyo. Nga ya tsadu tene yen sengen zimbache yugongye tele tone. Tene nga le chabache yen le domboshe chadong nyegu. Chadong le tene nga jar lasobi nyemombo yandagung. Nyemombo mombo. Nyemombo le tene le nasu wasa. Te tabu le do nyemombo le tene korwa nasu wetrodovi.
Firstly, we innately conceive the composition of our aggregates as I, as independent I, as I, and because of the concept of I, the concept of other comes naturally, sort of independently, not independently. The concepts of other comes because of two different concepts within us. Because of the concept of I, that causes to arise the desirous attachment within ourselves, and the concept of other, and it causes to arise the hatred towards other towards other who are not related with the one, who are not the concepts of other, and because of that, and the hatred or the anger arises within us, and then out of these two, which are rooted in the ignorance, concepts of concepts of I, the three poisons, then causes to arise within us the pride and stinginess and other defilement as well. And then the defilements causes us to engage in various defiled or contaminated deeds. And from these we take, from the power of these these causes and condition, out of our control, we have to take rebirth in different kinds of cyclic existences.
Nyamomba taso konga samjung sengetri chesa tel tene samjung ko tos huna igun jong manyumba taso pambile wachi.
Since the defilements are nature of the sub-mind, subconsciousness, nature of the subconsciousness, and since there are many followers here who have not studied, who have not studied yet the philosophies, which is going to give brief sort of explanation on the consciousness and subconsciousness.
Tele sem sangin ji samjung sangin ji yare. Te sem de tori. Samjung de ti kori.
Within us, we have a mind and submind. The mind consciousness or the mind submind. Consciousness is the principle and the subminds are the retinue of the consciousness, principal consciousness.
Te sem sangin de yurun sangin ji yur tam yurgu ngon sangin tele sem sangin yur di chebar bena yurun zeba men zeba la soban sangin te sole samjung sangin.
Among these two, the difference among these two should be known from the different sort of mode of perceiving the object. The principal mind is known to our mental state, which perceive the real sort of real essence or real characteristic of the object, any kind of object, and the associated subminds are referred to the mode of mental sort of perceiving, which perceive the feature, or the features of the different features of the object, any kind of object.
Sam tele temen be sam tu yor resum bare. Tejen be sam jay.
And with regard to to point out our mind, the principal mind, the Hinayana school interpreted that they are interpreted that there are 6 kinds of minds, whereas in the Mahayana approach, the Mahayana school approach, there are 8 kinds of principal consciousness or mind.
Mile dene zu hingente mignam kise tombo.
Relying on the eye sense, the consciousness, relying on the eye sense and the consciousness which perceives directly the tangible form is known as the eye consciousness.
Now then dashingente now inam kise.
And independent on, relying on the air sense, the consciousness which perceives directly the sound is known as air consciousness. And relying on the nose sense, the consciousness which directly perceive the smell, different kind of smell is known as nose consciousness. Relying on, with the support of sense, with the support of tongue sense, or relying on the tongue sense, the consciousness which perceives directly the taste is referred as the tongue consciousness. And then relying on the sense, body sense, physical sense, body sense is better. Relying on the body sense, the consciousness which directly perceive the nature, the real nature, the essential nature or the essential characteristic of the touches, different touches, is referred as the tongue consciousness.
The tuba yejit nam ke se jute du sum kongan zen kan kaza kan ro den kan mire gure na so trend ngetele yejit nam ke se.
And the sixth consciousness, is known as the mind consciousness. The mind consciousness. This is referred to the the mental state, our mental state, which goes after the past, present, future, which recalls all kinds of which can recall all kinds of happenings or all kinds of object, and which can also projects the imagination of the any kinds of phenomena. That mental state is known as the sixth, the mind consciousness.
Namge tubo de jochen zamdu yare, jochen menzam kap pena ni tubo lo kap taso kamomo chile mevan roge.
All these six consciousness are within us when they are the composition or the gathering of the causes and condition. For instance, otherwise they don't exist within. They are not there within us. For example, while in the sleep, there are no eye consciousness and so on.
Damba nyamon bi yising de kengi namkil tu bi chene teletene nga samzemba ngan zimba
Yignam shela.
kengi namkil bi ne te tene nga yin samba.
And to define the seventh consciousness, the defiled consciousness, defiled principal consciousness, that is a defiled defiled consciousness. That refers to our very subtle, egoism. Egoism that focus or that take the alaya as the object.
Tene soso se nakam jan cheju men kenchiri no jan men check.
This never there is no interruption of this kind of subtle egoism while being is still in the state of ordinary being.
Ni tubo lo du yada me kepa no tase se go.
Still the scholars, the learned scholars, still examine whether this seventh consciousness abides. Seven consciousness abides in us, in ordinary beings, while we fall in very deep sleep.
Tene jeba kengi no ke second de yur tam chenzen ke zudala sobandere se misal men ke number sabo meba sabron menzen ke tene ka shukre toba maybe tu na tu namo jen cheju men kenchiri yur tam chenzen ke yur misal men ke sabo men ke yur sabo menzen ke jen chaya menge
Teba mebe jiksung
la
Teba mebe tuna jiksung
la
Teba mebe
boom.
That's one. And the all basis consciousness, the eighth consciousness, the alaya vijnana, refers to our mental state. It's a mental state which perceives all different kinds of objects, but which has all the phenomena as its object, but has no very clear, very vivid mode of perceiving them, very vivid mode of perceiving them, and it alaya vijnana or all basis consciousness never cease to be in a manifested state until we gain the last sort of attainment.
Le geva to megawa karsana, the pachat, zindungenchiri.
And it has the power, or that alaya vijnana has the ability to contain all the seeds or the propensities of the different kind of actions we perform.
Zugu zuba yina tata sheba sarchamchi, yurun zinla kebachi, sheba tele kinjinam kisayu.
If we point out the present sort of luminous state, the present mental state, which is in a mere luminosity, and which is in the state to engage, which is in the state going to engage with the objects. That is referred as our all basis consciousness.
Samjung sangen de samge namjuri in zentong mandaba. Pena sam sangen de jamzo tabu. Samjung de balam dabu.
And with regard to the sub-minds, actually it is a different sort of color, complexion, future, different. It's a different other sort of aspects. Number, it is the sort of other aspects, kind of aspects of the principal mind. It is for example, we can know the difference between the principal mind and the sub-minds from the example of the oceans and the waves. The principal mind is like the actual ocean, and the sub-mind is like the waves. In accordance with the higher Indian tenets, they regard the principal mind and sub-mind as as a identical. In another word, one character, one nature. And although there are many kinds of sub-minds within ourselves, the important, the more required one, I would say, while undertaking the practice, the more the sub-minds whose sort of nature are required to be known in order to undertake the practices, they are classified into 51 kinds. They are divided into 51 kinds. For example, all the root and the closer defilements, 6 root defilements, 20 closer defilements, they are all the sub-mind, and the virtues sub-mind, the positive sub-mind, positive mental state such as faith, having taken refuge, and so on. They are also a kind of sub-mind.
Yeah, I was on the Tata Kora Kebi Kapsu, Konde Kebi Kapsu, Tender Hira Nachum, just a tender junior, ngote du chogin samso.
While imparting the teaching on the suffering nature of the cyclic existence, since it is very crucial or very crucial to understand the dependent arising or interdependent origination, which has thought to give us very brief sort of explanation on the interdependent arising.
Tende chuni cheba ina ledon nyemon ba nyinge konsong korwana kandeche korndo wato. Lam nyamlen sedu korwade kandeche pongdo yaba di nezuru ketu yaba.
If this is crucial, because to know the dependent arising is very crucial for the serious followers, because if the followers understand the what you call the dependent arising, then then as a follower will be able to understand how his cyclic existence can be discarded. First of the dependent origination is the ignorance. Ignorance here refers to the egoism, the grasping of self of person. And the second one, I don't know the exact sort of literal English term for that. Actually, the meaning of the second one is action or the deed. Deed, it has three kinds. It has three kinds. One which one is the action, virtuous action. One is a non-virtuous, and the third one is a kind of deed. It's a kind of deed which propels the deed, which propels the being who accumulates to the higher realms.
Mariba sangati timu mari, temu ke le gewa che tu mari. Mariba sa chute downzing ke le game ke sungkachi o shigi yore.
So the important point here is that the first one, the relationship between the first and the second, since the second has the virtuous action as its divisions, the ignorance in the first, which is the cause of second, must not be the ignorance which we count in the three poisons. So the ignorance here must be the egoism, the grasping of self of I, because the grasping of self of I can invoke, or the egoism do invoke the virtuous deed.
Namche hyuje de papa ludu sona mai ngadu tombo hyubi namche te.
The third dependent arising, the consciousness, in accordance with the Arya Nagarjuna, it has to refer only to the consciousness which conceive at the very first, the consciousness which conceives, I can say, at the consciousness of the embryo, the consciousness of the embryo, which the very first consciousness of the embryo.
Yiba menzu senga men senga de sawandu hindu je namke yilere kumbu ye. Zu senga de ngaldu tombo zu tubate mermembo da.
And the fourth dependent origination, the name and form. Name refers to the four kinds of the four four other aggregates, four aggregates apart from the physical aggregates, physical aggregates, and the form refers to the any physical aggregates.
先前整个的可能没那么那这一头车呢，那么你也主桥上先去主对吧？先去主对吧？是吧？你就是。
Khenchen, the door of conception, the door of consciousness, on the six sources of consciousness. Sources of consciousness refers to the six senses.
Reba संगत यूर जोंगे दे याबोंदु दे दुवंदु संसों जिंकेंगे संजुन चीज़.
So the contact, the sixth contact. It's a kind of sub-mind actually. Contact here means a mental state which perceives after the composition of the sense, after the gathering of the sense, the objects, and the consciousness. After the sort of gathering or the composition of the sense, objects, and the consciousness, then the mental state which conceive such is good, such is bad, and which conceive such is good, such is bad, such is happy, such is unhappy. That mental state is known here as the contact.
Damba sorwa sangate devadu dungar nyong we samjunchi.
And the feeling, of course, is a mental state which has the mode of which has the mode of experiencing the happy and the sufferings and the neutral as well.
Jaba seba sangate devadu madana sambateo sebare. Dungar dum trana sambateo sebare. That's all the same.
And the eighth one, attachment. It's a kind of attachment, desire. It's a mental state which desire, mental state which desire not to be parted from the happy state, and which desire to even, or the mental state which desire to be parted from the suffering. That mental state is known as attachment here.
Guwa lemba sangate Devi Jules chawa chepa, Jutonde chepa.
And the ninth, the grasping, they say is grasping here. It is a mental state which generates the wish, mental state which generates the wish to sort of attain the causes of the happiness.
Juba siba sangate yon leri sana shawa tele inye shawa salva. Yona nimba lengama yapate debu mamin dadabate so. Tene siba tum lambas and there's a huge chambushuma tege let it new chambuchene. Shewa jema and debu mentum can shake about. Tender reach it in your sibasa.
And the tenth one, the existence, in translation they have an English version for it as existence, but the meaning is that it is a branch or a kind of our action. It is a kind of the action, any kind of action motivated or invoked by the desires, invoked by the invoked by this desirous attachment. And within it there are two kinds. One is the action performed newly, and another kind is kind of this experience. The tenth dependent arising, dependent origination. It's a mental state which makes the earlier sort of accumulated, powerless accumulated deed as a powerful deed.
Jujiba Jeva se Pumbo Jeva Ronri, Juniba Gahi se Gabado Kiwani, Yombo Damso.
11th one is the birth. Birth refers, of course, to the taking birth. And the 12th one is the Gashi, aging and dying.
Gawado Kiwa. Teletino ne Tombo Mariba, Jeba Seba, Guba Lemba, Sengitesum, Niemombari.
Among these 12s, within ourselves, within these 12s are divided from these 12s are divisions of another divisions of our own composition of 5 aggregates. Within these 12, the first, ignorance, and the 8th, attachment, and the 9th, lemba, the 9th, grasping. I really don't know the accurate English version. I'm just relying on the earlier translation here. These 3 are nature of defilements.
Nimba Nduji Sangate, Chuva Siba Sangate, in Larry.
And this, the second, the action, the second one, and the 10th, existence. These are the nature of, these 2 are nature of our actions, related with our actions.
Yenda Dembo de Dan Luyore, Revuri, Nomen Sayor.
And the rest of the 7s are result. They are known as fully ripened among the 3 sort of results explained some days ago. These 7 falls in the fully ripened result of the karma and affliction.
Tender Judy Model, Junda Chani Yore, Jonah Sesum Dodo Yore, Benachevan Hamale, Mariba, Duzini Se, Se Parva Teletani, Jeno Yore, Namkine, Sibi Pardo. Teneti Jema Tele Seva Gahini said, in Jonah Sesum Dodo. Tata.
La.
Tata.
Chutu tunde ache.
Take Junda Rumani or Setum. Says some good don't know here. But says some kind of Mariba and Duzini and Segama. Then I'm Palam Jabo de Separba. Yema Nimbo de Sesumba.
Among the 12 dependent arising, if asked how among the 12 dependent arising, if asked how these can be, how these 12 can be completed in our cyclic existence. It is they are among the 12 dependent arising. There are two parts or two parts of cause and result, two parts of cause and result, and these can be completed in our cyclic existence within three lifetimes. Within 3 lifetimes. So among the 12, like for instance, our this life, the cause of our this life, the ignorance and the action of the past, ignorance and the action of the past cause our this life, and we are still in the process of the middle eight from consciousness up to the existence, and then that is the middle part, and at the end the last two, the birth. By three sort of births, these 12 dependent arising can be completed. So we are still in the process, in the what you call. We are still in the. So our former life is the first life, and our present life is the second life, and our next life, for example, our next life is the third life. Within 3 lives, all these 12 dependent arising can be completed. So, in brief, the former ignorance and the action of former caused us to have this birth, and then this birth is still in the process of the middle eight, and then when we die, we take birth. And
Junde Sena Mari Banduzi Ni Juse Namhila Nabot and Rebu Selen Sibasum Juse Sheva Gahi in Rebu.
So, in terms of explaining them through causes and effects, our earlier ignorance and actions were the cause of our present state, and our present state, which consists of the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, which consists of the 7, up to the 7, from third to 7, is a result, and then our present attachment, the 8th attachment, 9th grasping, and the 10th the action. They are again the causes, and then the next life's birth and the aging and dying are the result.
Siba Kolos and Yada Teji Kunjin Trosu take a remove to that angry.
There is drawing of cyclic existence. Through the drawing, one can be introduced the cyclic existence by that the drawing of the cyclic existence.
Tell it to Jan Demba Yitsang, take a Google. Demba Yitsang, the Kowa Junde Ni, Taraba Junde Ni to Gil, Demba Yitz.
In order to know that, the cyclic kolo, the cycle of the cyclic existence, the cycle of the worldly existence. In order to know that, we need to know the Four Noble Truths. We need to know that among the Four Noble Truths, the first and two are the causes, the causal and resultant worldly, causal and resultant worldly existence, and the truth of cessation and truth of path are the resultant and causal, resultant and causal. in English phrase, it's not easy. They too are known as the result and the cause of the liberation.
Kori Jude Lero Nyamubano, Niri, Nizukeba, Rebude, Nedo, Sanji.
And the cause of, as we know, as we are aware, the cause of cyclic existence are of two kinds, the defilements and karma. And the resultant cyclic existence, the causal cyclic existence refers to the karma and actions and defilements, our actions and our defilements. And then the resultant cyclic existence refers to the environment and the content and the container.
Tarvaki Junde said, here there was a column in Lodge Lamja Demba. Then in Yaman was doing a Tarson there and go with them by you.
In a what's it called? In a brief, the resultant, the truth of cessation, truth of path refers to such as the Eightfold Path, the Eightfold Arya's path, Arya's Eightfold Path. And the truth of cessation is cessation of the defilements, cessation of the obscurations obtained from realizing the infallible nature.
Then Kori Kolotino Devale, Sanjay Sum to Yere, the Genjun Sanjeri, the Mutayale, Papa, the Kanan, Ruru Kedon, Shapuren, that's what Sanjay. And
in the drawing of the cycle of the world, the cycle of the world, in the middle, the three sort of drawing of animals, like snake, bird, and the pig. The bird signifies these three. What say? The middle. Deva lakalsa.
Center. Deva the center city.
La.
Center.
Center la.
Center.
The center sort of small circle. So that signifies the truth of sources, truth of causes, and within that, in that sentence, the cycle at the center, there are three sort of drawings of animals, and the bird signifies our the desirous attachment. The snake signifies the hatred, and the pig signifies the ignorance.
Shalo the Changa Yang and Sum Lamini, the Dunga Demba.
And outside there are Chakazusa.
Changa.
Changala. In exterior from the center, they are divided into 5 parts, and all those 5 parts signify the 5 kinds of signifies the 5 kinds of beings.
Mucho no le tendre en la junior take judon level condition called Korton Keba.
And the outer rim, I think. Outer rim. That's yes, yeah.
Junda never shepherd.
Muju na la kari yor son re.
Me Jule never Junsur. Call Korton. You led on Yama.
And in the outer rim there is a specific drawing which signifies how the the results, how the different kinds of results arise from the various different kinds of causes.
Then colloque yeshule teachiri. All the songs son teaching the London Sanjiri. The told Dawachi, go with them but Sanjiri. Then a temper cucci colloque yeshule yarin tepachi, take a Dawado colonial Shandu tepachi, the Tarvi London devil to Sumitano.
And the right side of the drawing of the cyclic existence, at the bottom there is a writing of 2 verses which signifies the truth of a path, and the top of that, on the top side of that, at the right side, there is a drawing of a moon disk which signifies the truth of cessation, and at the left side of the drawing of cyclic existence, there is a drawing of our guide, the Buddha, in a standing position and in a special gesture, mudra, reminding us or telling us, reminding us to look. And now Rinpoche is going to explain the faults of defilements.
Papa Shombe, do the Jigno do somebody. Niamo Bate, there's our contract of Kayina take Ronle never secret, Yenle never secret, Getale never secret.
In one of the texts of the Arya Mitriya, he pointed out that he said that the defilements harms oneself, others, and also the virtues, root of virtues. So defilements, as we know, is like any kind of defilements, any of the 3 poisons and so on.
And
he also explained how it generates other faults, such as how the defilements generates other faults, such as spoiling one's own morality, and then people despising out of the power of defilements, spoiling the morality and the social the societies, how the society despise oneself, and how one feels after having spoiled, how one feels, how one have great resentment after coming to the downfall. Furthermore, the Acharya Shantideva explained in the Bodhicharya Avatara how our own defilements are our enemies.
Tama bidavon dendur chene bena tama bidav sange de tuzerimbo never say to gumadi nyamo bate toma mebana tati par sana tam maybe parto jen rimbo never say tom meban never say.
In his teaching, he has made a comparison between the ordinary enemy and the enemy of our defilements, the inner enemy. He says that the ordinary enemy does not long last and does not harm that much, does not harm us that much, as much as does not harm much as our own sort of inner enemy, the defilement, has been harming us since the beginningless time.
Samche tamche da long na yong se ne du bo se gre member nya ba thi tu ma le nya ba thi he da the nya mo pi da le.
It is said that even if all sentient beings were to become one's own enemies, they would be able to harm to oneself only in this life. They wouldn't be able to able to send us in the hell realm. Our own enemy, the defilements, have the power to propel or to send us in the hell realm.
Tene tama bida tele para gudo che rewa che ba ina chu never se ga na nya mo bi da de par ka sa to na online sa duru no bi.
And between these two enemies, to the ordinary enemy, if we attempt to be more friendly, more closer, more sort of harmonious with him, we may become a sort of friend. And as for the defilements, how much we we follow or we respect or we try to be harmonious with our own negative emotions, it harms again, harm us. They harm us again and again.
Tama bida de se ma to na ko ro gi che gre nya mo bida de nyam bu cham ma to na rong hi ju ni che ma le.
And furthermore, even if we don't kill our the ordinary enemy, he will one day he will die. However, whereas with regard to the defilements, there's no other way. The defilements will sort of go away from us, from us, unless we dismantle or we destroy them, we eradicate them through the antidote.
Nyamong bi nyemi de tendo jingo de shona ya wole. Tido. Tege ko la ken na ngenju men sange te sarwa che.
So now up to this, we just finished teaching on the second line.
Da da la ken na chongsen men sange ti ko ru.
Now he is going to explain on the third line.
Da kowa de pongja den du kowa le tatal nge ba se gu du san no tong gu gra ke ba ina pen ru ju ne ya ma le jan chen bon du san kowa pong cha du da ka che gu sana ta ni yo re yo na te me dra chang ba to tap se gu ye re yo na do song je ju go mo to tap se gu de ni den du che du da chang ba de yo ke ra yo bo yo re de yo hu de song je re che za da Sonje drogu samgo sonje drogu sambatele tene samje sehiyore.
So while after hearing the faults and the suffering natures of the faults and suffering natures of the worldly existence, if among us, if we are really a discerning person, then the renunciation, a thought of abandoning, thought of discarding, or thought of discontinuing our cyclic existence will arise through by reflecting and by knowing all these different natures. And so after instilling or generating this renunciation, Rinpoche says there are two things to be, two objectives, objectives or ambitions can be made. Either the liberation of the Hinayana or the complete liberation. Although the liberation of Hinayana, the Sharvaka Arhatship, is very positive, very high sort of state where there is no suffering, where there is no defilements. But it is not the final sort of objective or final attainment. So we need to generate the thought that knowing all these sort of things, we need to generate the thought that I must attain the attainment or stage of complete Buddhahood. That thought is known as the Mahayana altruistic enlightenment thought.
Kebaja Sano Tona is a Dubja Kandu, Miyur Kandu, Sano Tondu, Yona Tsende do go. Yona Sheva Jema and Sondo Mondone, La, Megulunda, Tedruza Jiri. Yona Tarva do go. Yona Sonja do go. That they yen rendur sheko. They jigadona, Yashu de Ronda Yana Kalasana, Sonjeri, just a Sonja top Google, some goere.
So if one is designing really a designing person, and there are four objectives to be accomplished within this life. There are four objectives to be accomplished by a designing person. One is to be successful in this life. One is to put exert to take rebirth, better birth in the next life. One is to attain the attainment. One is to attain the attainment, Sharvaka attainment, and Sharvaka Arhatship, and one is to put effort in attaining the final stage, the complete Buddhahood attainment.
Samjeta da Mombo Yare, Yeva do Mombo, Mo gonna member on Jubat in some way. Members and get something Yanjitan, Rondando, Selu Someri, Rongen Gitando, Yona Yanando. Sonja top goes somebody, member Samsi. Sonja top Chedu gave a drop goes somebody, Juba Samsi Sungo.
And the enlightenment thought has two kinds: the aspiring enlightenment thought and the engaging enlightenment thought. Aspiring enlightenment thought refers to our mental state, which aspire or which wish to achieve the attainment of the complete Buddhahood for the sake of other beings. And the engaging enlightenment thought refers to our wish, our mental state, which aspire to engage in the virtuous deeds.
Samche the wrong sam to the Chevala to Juchen Yakure. Jumomo Yeretino, the Keche, the Nijiri, Cheta, Samche Gando, Nijizoko, Niji Jude Shambari, then Tombo Shambagango.
So in order to have that jinin enlightenment thought within us, since it is a compounded phenomena and it has to be generated from the causes and conditions. Although there are many causes and conditions, the principal cause of instilling or producing genuine enlightenment thoughts are the loving kindness and compassion.
Shamba Sangate, something Yanda, Devoshuna, Deva, Chudung Tembi Deva, Chudung Tembi Deva, Sendi Deva, Shemang Deva, Sonjay Devi Parto, Tomna Sambate. Then Deva Tovala di Jug, Sana Gevare, Geva Duru Shana Sambatele, Shamba Sakivari.
So the loving kindness refers to our mental state, which wish other beings to be in a happy states. This in a happy state this life, other beings to be happy in a next life, which wish to either to wish other beings to be in a permanent sort of blissful state. In another word, other beings wish other beings to gain the enlightenment. Not only that, it's a mental state which wish. So that means there are many kinds of loving kindness in accordance with the teaching, and loving kindness can also refer to the mental state which wish other beings to be in a virtuous action, wishing other beings to involve in a virtuous action.
Shamba Sangate Sarba Leoma Zogo, Magi Chu Sangate Sembayon was Zoa, Chu Seviori. Pena Sam Sangate Sers Yavunda, Ser Yavode. Sota Candezona Zotogiare. Take a no again. Tata Zotu Mazev Samtele, Chanagonga, Chamombo Yori, Chamkonga Samutoli Yori, Chamombo Young Yori. Then it is Zotu Shavayana, Yande Chen Chow Yori, Yande Mombun Jungun Chow Yori. Just a thunder Zoya Tele, then choose a Yori.
Which says that emphasize to us that we need to be very diligent in order to be a kindful, in order to instill and develop loving kindness within us, because the quality of these qualities are not there within us. We will have to put much effort to make it, or to construct it in our mind. In brief, making our mind, mending or repairing or mending our mind is actually the spirituality, the actual spirituality. Spiritual, in brief, the spirituality means to repair or to mend our mind through training in a positive mental states like compassion, loving kindness, and so on. Our minds, our minds is the nature that it can be whichever bad or good, whichever we have more habituation, our mind can be maintained in that from that.
Cheba Mombo, do Rainbow Provale, Shamba Kama, Jules Governor, Sanam Chegre, somebody.
So we need to familiarize ourselves in the genuine loving kindness. Genuine loving kindness. There is in the teaching it is said that it is more meritorious. It is the familiarizing in the loving kindness just for 10 minutes, just for a short period, is more meritorious, has a greater merits than making offering to many Buddhas.
Then Shamba Ba Yogi to say Gona, Slado made Shambo Shivalasophy, Yanten Jet Populism.
If we would say familiarize ourselves in a loving kindness for a length of the milking of a cow, duration of milking of a cow, then all the mundane gods and the human beings will be more friendly, become more friendly with you. This is because that if one generates kindness to others, the others will repay that kindness. And it also, familiarizing in loving kindness, also save us from harm, save us from harms. For example, through the power of the kindness, Shakyamuni Buddha, through the power of our Lord, many sort of demons could not harm him.
Then
so there is no other way to attain the complete enlightenment, the Buddhahood. No other way to attain the Buddhahood unless we train ourselves in the compassion and loving kindness.
Shamba Gamtong de Tombo Gamtong Gomika Rumba Somro se Tombo Nyesa se then a Dralagam, then a nearly maybe something Yandalagam.
In order to familiarize ourselves in the loving kindness, there are instruction which instructs us to train ourselves in loving kindness by three sort of orders. First, familiarizing ourselves in loving kindness to the closer sort of related, closer ones, beings who are closer, beings who are related in this life. And then the and then shifting to familiarizing in the beings who are a little bit sort of the distant beings. And then familiarizing ourselves in the loving kindness towards the neutral beings. Within familiarizing the loving kindness towards the related and closer beings, it is also divided into two. First, to familiarize it towards one's this life mother, and then Malacha, and then relatives, father, and then other relatives.
Then Kunga Mayan son and Gam get it, they're gum go out there. He do bachi. Zona, then a shamba said there. Penaso Zumanda of Zichambo, Putao, Chumatao, Tele, Hindu do batele, Ronhuke, Devoshuna, Duan Majuna, Sonsom Chegiata, said that Habjana. Then a Conga Mayan son and Gam.
We are being, while instructing us while guiding us in the practice of loving kindness, it is said that we should. It is said we are trained in thinking that all beings are our mothers. This is because that. Naturally, we would say the kindful thought arises naturally towards our so beloved one. Since the mother is the most beloved sort of person in our mundane sort of human world. We are guided while doing the practice of loving kindness. We are being sort of guided to do it by thinking other beings as our mother. First we have to first we have to think that such is one's own mother, the object in whom we are generating loving kindness. Second is to think of her sort of different kinds of kindness, and then third is to think of repaying our kindness. First, while familiarizing in the practice of loving kindness, we should, in front of us, we should visualize our mother's future, whether she is alive or she is already dead, and then focusing one pointedly at that visualized mother, and we should recall all our sort of very kindful gesture, all our kindness. First of all, we need to think that this is my mother. This is my mother. I have to think again, and then as a second step, we need to think that I'm very grateful, or she is so kind. She has been so kind to me. All the kindness can be classified into three: the kindness of giving this body, providing this body, and kindness of instructing, kindness of providing many kinds of instructions, and kindness of undertaking herself in many kinds of hardships on behalf of oneself.
Then Lava Ju Mazen Tagarin, not Sing She, Boyish and Shong. Then Shilla Tadu, Lubu Cow, Shake, she to Gamari, cut out to Gamari, Samga Cow, Shake Gamari. The Mahi was a soon shop savaging to that the Lubon didn't, soon the Mars somebody.
So, our, what say, the present life and the present body is provided to us by our mother through, what say, taking so much care while we are while we were in her womb. While we were in her womb, she took so much sort of care for complete 9 months. Complete 9 months.
Then to Machu, stay Machu, Tamachu, Tomachu, Shambu.
And she also generated so much kindness through not letting us be in hungry, not letting us be in thirsty, not helping, not letting us feeling hot and cold and so on.
Then it was a child who didn't love so much day or among me that love you. Then me there's a love. Then Rodon that don't have love. Sadon Tun have then love so much.
Furthermore, when we are a little bit grown up, when we grown up a little bit, she instruct us how to say the words, how to eat, how to drink, and how to sit as well.
Then it was a chamber child who done. Then Ma Moronga Dibadon, Gangar Chambu to the south, there be long set. Chu Chedo Tomato, Soso Pesce Mato, then a pool retreat. Then Donna Madri, she said, music, pain thought, never several.
Also, we should recall her kindness of being so, being so generous, so generous. When we grew up as a teenager or grew up as the grown-up man or woman, she gave us all her wealth, the belongings which she had collected, which she had kept with her.
Oh yeah. There's a three to make out.
La.
Three to make out.
La so. So nam de
Zibani Shimba Kando Zungo Deon Yawan Dada Damjera Saja Baye Temba